about Robert Owen. God bless those guys, the utopian socialists of the 19th century. The first attempt to opt out of capitalism, basically. And the whole history of the 19th century and the 20th and now is how is over time that option being reduced, just literally being wiped off the map. And I think that all of our examples of attempts to try to opt out of capitalism while still living in a capitalist system are going to be undermined because because you can't produce. You can try to produce without profit, but the rest of the world isn't, and that fucking crank is just going to pull. But I don't blame them. It certainly looked like there was a lot more options back then. It really, when you look back at the 19th century, it really is stunning. You can say all you want about Marx, and you can say about what he got wrong, or how he was a dick, and how he was a lazy hypocrite who cheated on his wife, whatever you want, or he was racist or whatever. All that true to one or another extent. He really was the one person who saw what was happening as it was happening and saw more even than what it was going to be. And he saw that it could not be negotiated with, it could not be gotten around, it cannot be competed with. It could only be transcended. It had to be worked through and transcended because it was going to become totalizing. And he looked around the world and he saw the power of capitalism, and he saw the absolute rustic, flaccid, corrupt, weak structures that opposed it, and saw, there's only one way this is going. Nothing outside of capitalism, no system, no structures outside of capitalism will be able to withstand it. The only hope will come from within it, as people who are deterritorialized by capitalism come into a new consciousness. But at the time, very few people got that. And honestly, I'll always say that, like, Marx's vituperativeness and awful hostility and nastiness to the people he argued with can kind of be understood when you just see, when you really reckon with how much he saw compared to what everyone else was insisting upon. People saying, no, we can defeat capitalism by competing with it and displaying the superiority of cooperation. As though by that late date, what was going to compel the mass of humanity was going to be an example or a word or anything beyond the fucking ideological and physical rifle to the forehead of capital. But that was not obvious at the time. How, to most of us, to most people there, hell, half the smartest people of the 19th century were convinced that all the stuff that was happening was due to skull shapes and like temperature variations and shit. But yeah, I don't really know that much about the whole New Harmony deal. I mean, I've never really studied those people. It's like all those 19th century eccentrics, well-meaning, good-hearted, but just fundamentally not reckoning with what was in front of them. But you know what? None of us are. None of us can. All of us are creating a model reality to live in where agency still exists.